Hi there, guys. Welcome back to Tallinn, the Kings of Tallinn Autumn Edition. We're back and we had some cash games on our first stream yesterday. George Sanford, our main commentator and expert, a PLO guy, as you are. You did enjoy last night.
It was good action, right? So we had the 50-50 stream yesterday. The big winners were Omar and Jesper, both from Sweden. So it was a Swedish domination yesterday, as Wise Guy's very happy about. And a real clinic of deep stack cash game Omaha. It was lovely to watch. Lots of great aggression, lots of small pots, and a good one to watch back. If you want to learn about getting into the game of Omaha, I know lots of people are these days because obviously Hold'em is getting tougher, but still some good things to be learned in the 4-card streets.
Yeah, absolutely. And even maybe in the 5-card streets as we will have today, because today's action is the final table.
Yeah, so this event is a 4/5 card, so they play one orbit of each on a rotation, and we go until the end. So we're going to have 7 left.
Yeah.
And before that, I think we got a couple of interviews with some of the players.
Yeah, you met up with a few of the profiles on this final table. So before we have the introductions, let's listen to a few of the players.
So Aki, welcome back to Kings of Tallinn. How's your stack looking going into the final table?
I'm quite satisfied. I'm in the average and still room to play with. So in Omaha, I have over 500,000 and it's 25 big blinds. It's very manageable.
Mm-hmm. Any significant pots so far from memory?
Well, yeah, I doubled up with a flopped straight against the top set, but that's not very. That doesn't really make headlines in 5-card Omaha.
Yeah, I guess it plays itself, right?
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to most this week, apart from the Omaha events?
Well, unfortunately, I have to leave early, so I have to be on Friday back in Finland. So I play whatever is left. It has to be over before.
So cramming in every event before then?
Yeah, pretty much so.
We look forward to seeing you on the final table. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers. So welcome, Mikael, to Kings of Tallinn, and congratulations on making the final table. How's the run been so far?
Very good, thanks. Have a big stack. Long time. Mm-hmm. When 24 left, I won 2 big pots, and then bubble came very close. And
was that something you took advantage of with the bubble, the big stack?
Not that big because we had many setups and 5-game PLO, and lost some flips and won some flips. Then bubble was one hand, so not that big this time.
And I heard that you won the 8-game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's your speciality in poker? What's your favorite format?
Maybe PLO4. Mm-hmm. That was my first 8-game tournament ever, and I have learned a lot and was very lucky.
So you're kind of playing and learning at the same time some of the games?
Yes, exactly.
Which was the game that you found most interesting that you hadn't played much before?
I have played just 7, but a little bit different formats. Mm-hmm. That was Sunday triple draw limit. Okay. So that was new for me, but I really love it. Yeah. And it's my favorite game. And
nice one. Yeah. And how are you doing in chips coming into the final table?
Sorry?
How many chips do you have coming into?
A little bit less than 1 million.
Mm-hmm. Well, good luck on the spin up and all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are starting our final table of the traditional Kings of Tallinn 1,100 euro pot limit Omaha 4 and 5 cards final table. Let me introduce you to our final table players. 123 entries in this 1K PLO. Taking seat number 1 with 230,000 in chips. From Finland, please welcome Veikka Ketotokoi. Taking seat number 2 from Latvia. He has 710,000 in chips. He is currently second in chips. Please welcome Denis Lebedevs. Taking seat number 3 from Ukraine with 330,000 in chips, let's welcome Mikhailo Chekarev. From Finland with 300,000 in chips, welcome Arto Loikkanen. Taking seat number 5, also from Finland, he has 635,000 in chips. Welcome Mika Hellström. Also from Finland, taking seat number 6 with 535,000 in chips, welcome Aki Pyysing. And finally, our chip leader of this pot limit Omaha 1,100 euro final table, from Finland with 950,000 in chips, welcome Mikael Koistinen.
Yes, so there we have our 7 finalists.
We
and
have 22 minutes to go on the current level. Blinds are 10,000, 20,000, 123 entries in the 1K PLO, and we are down to our final 7. Button will start on seat 1. The first game is pot limit Omaha with 4 cards. We do button round each, 4 cards and 5 cards. Dealer, we can shuffle up and deal.
And there we're back again. Teresa had some more nice words to say to the players, and we're off at this final table of the 1100 PLO then.
Yeah, lovely intro. Really sets the suspense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
Gets
here's the
everyone in the
lineup
mood.
for us. 5 Finnish flags, as you can see.
Yeah, no surprise in the Omaha. Definitely a game that seemed to be dominated by Scandinavian countries, especially Finland. So most of the tables that I've played in or seen in the Omaha events have been full of Finns. So 5 out of 7 is good showing. But hey, Mikhailo fighting for Ukraine and Dennis for Latvia might have something to say about that. Let's see. Both positioned rather well, but the stack distribution seems on the shorter side. So chip leader with 46, and there's definitely a couple of guys sub 15 big blinds there with a bit of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should say that you can watch this stream on different platforms, but if you are on the YouTube OlyBet Poker, we do have our chat open as well here in the studio. So if you have any questions, or if you just want to tell George how nice he's looking on stream or something like that, just hit us up on the YouTube chat. And of course, George, you had a PLO session yourself last night.
Yeah, I played the 350 and I got 8th in the end. So was just about managed to max late register. Wasn't a bad run, and just lost on the hold'em round. It was 2, 4, and 5 cards. King 7 suited versus Ace 8, no luck, and that was it.
Seems like we have some action right away.
So Vika is potting it in with Kings versus this limp from the cutoff from Mikael, and he gets it through. So yeah, these Kings aren't super strong, but I think facing a cut-off limp there, it's rather unlikely that he's going to have a hand stronger than Kings. So just looking to pot and generate some fold equity.
And many of the viewers might be used to looking at Hold'em streams or Hold'em poker. If you compare this, it's going to be 4 and 5 cards. And the holdings in those hands, how would you
exactly.
categorize it?
It's quite... 5 cards is quite electric in the tournament format. You know, there's just so many potential collisions in that game. So I think for medium stacks, they're going to want to try and pick up some chips in 4 card, and maybe we're going to see a little bit more of a conservative approach from these guys in 5 card, just trying not to get lured in, because so often you can flop something and feel like you're committed. But ICM will be a huge factor for these guys. So it's It's easier said than done, that's for sure. Arto here with the defend versus +1, ace jack 10-7. Can't really see him going anywhere. No reason to shove. He's not going to be like pushing equity versus that range, and unlikely to generate many folds versus +1. So happy just to call, and got a bit of an action flop here.
For sure, yeah. Paired board with nut flush draw for Arto, and of course the aces, and a smaller flush draw for Aki, the Finnish veteran. We were doing some research before this final table, and we saw that Aki Pysing was actually the poker face of the year 2014 in
Was he
Finland.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, a well-known, respected player for many years in Finland, and we had him on a few of these Kings of Tallinn final tables before, and this promises for some action now then, as we have Arto with the check.
The tank check as well.
Yeah.
Like he was considering leading. I think if you've ever got a strong hand on 8-3-3, you're just always going to be checking here. It's not so connected like an 8-5-6 or a 8-7-4 or something like that. So this paired board definitely favoring the early position opener with lots of overpairs and hands like that. They're going to be relatively neutral in terms of the 3x that both can have. If anything, Aki's going to have more 3x. And Arto does go for the check jam. I think this is the correct play. Just hoping to get a hand like Queen Jack 10-9 to bet fold or something like that. Maybe he bet folds a hand like Queens with no flush draw. And regardless, he's going to have decent equity here. And just no way we can fold Aki with the overpair and the flush draw. So 76%.
Yep. Good position for Aki Pysing now to eliminate the first player from the final table. And Aki actually was on a run here. He, when we were 9 players left, he was short stacked, and then he eliminated, I think maybe even 2 players, the 2 final ones. Now the 9 on the turn.
Wow, that opens up some drama.
Yeah.
And there's a 9 on the river as well. Aki actually backdoors trips to go with his aces and missed flush draw. So that's going to be the end of that one. And quick exit for Arto there.
Still though, picking down well over 7,000 for his effort. I think it's around 4,500 that he will be pocketing soon. So still a nice payday in the 1,100 for him. And now down to 6 players then quickly on our final table.
Yeah, that's just why sometimes in an ICM and PLO you want to defend the big blind a bit less. Obviously, there's nothing he could have really done there. The hand played itself, but the reason why you maybe as a medium stack you don't want to defend versus the bigger stack is because you just get these kind of unavoidable collisions that you're not going to be able to navigate your way out of, and that gives some maybe higher edge to the opponents that are just sat there watching you two go at it. So something to consider for PLO final table.
So 49.50 was actually the payout for Arto there. So Arto Loikanen, our 7th place finisher, as we now go to the next Finn with one of the shorter stacks, Veikka.
Wow, this is rather adventurous.
Yeah.
King, Queen, 6 deuce, single to the 6. Yeah, super off-piste, out of line, but he gets the job done. Maybe he's got some sort of specific reads on the lineup behind, thinks that maybe they're going to be a little bit too conservative versus that open, but...
we have some chants in the chat already. Let's go Aki, says Jesse. And Jesse has always also stated that Aura is insane. I'm not sure if he's talking about the beer or there's someone nicknamed Aura on the...
Maybe Aki's Aura.
Maybe.
Maybe his just table presence.
Yeah. I know there's a Finnish beer called Aura as well, but I don't think maybe that makes you insane, but...
Yeah. Easy does it. It's only about 3 o'clock. 4:15, sorry.
So, Veikka now then.
Yeah, well, he could have just about anything based on the last hand.
Yeah,
King, Queen,
and he
6
has
deuce.
pretty much anything.
Yeah,
8-5 deuce.
8-5 deuce, and this is kind of interesting. It's not often that you see a short/medium stack kind of taking the initiative like this.
Yeah.
Aki does have a rainbow hand. If he knew how wide Veikka was opening, he might defend, but I think that this hand can be somewhat problematic versus early position. No suit, and some reverse implied odds when you do flop top pair sometimes. Okay, so both players flopping decently. Veikka with pocket eights and the 8-high flush draw. Aki's got himself top pair with that king of clubs that can come in handy. And, of course, the nut gut shot. Maybe he's going to be considering some kind of lead here. I'm not sure exactly what it would achieve. Checking, allowing your opponent to maybe bet some hands like pocket nines, pocket jacks, weak straight draws. He's just going to kind of
accusing Aki to be the crazy man.
Yeah.
And what about yourself, sir?
I know. Have another sip and calm down, fella. He's been really gunning it. Maybe that's the game plan he's got.
Yep.
And, you know, in some ways, taking the initiative in PLO tournaments, as we saw the winner in our last festival, the WSOPC, Riku, did a really good job of kind of, he was a medium stack and he realized that maybe the bigger stack was going to be a little bit too conservative in certain spots.
Yeah.
And he just took over the reins and kind of ran away with the tournament. So it's definitely up for grabs. Sometimes you just got to take the bull by the horns.
Absolutely. So we should say, we haven't mentioned it, they're doing this tournament on a 30-minute clock, so each level is 30 minutes. We're right now playing 20K with a 20K big blind ante as well. So that's the structure, as we now started this on 123 players, down to the final 6 now then, with Mika on the button next to Act.
Great numbers for a 1K PLO.
Yeah.
Not often you're going to see those kind of numbers outside of, say, Vegas.
Aki now then, as Mika made it 55 on the button, and Aki with the kings.
Let's go for the pot.
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. Going to generate a lot of folds. Ace 9, 8, 7 double suited, just folding there, showing the power of the aggression. Maybe if Aki calls and allows that guy, he could squeeze or call himself. So crazy, man.
Yeah, probably these Finns played a lot together before, and maybe that's Aki's profile then that he has back home in Finland on the scene. That he is
I
a
think
crazy
he's
man.
Unpredictable, I would say.
Yeah.
I think I don't think he's particularly like a lunatic or something, but I definitely think he's got some moves and he's wily. He's been around the game for a long time. He's got some tricks up his sleeve. He's not afraid to work the short or the medium stack as well. You do see some of the guys are, you know, kind of clutching on to their last 10 bigs. He's going to be firing it in. Not scared. So Mikhailo with the ace-king 6-3 single decides to let it go. Close, I think, with the poor side cards there, and he's managed to find good timing as Aki picks up yet another hand here.
Yeah. See how many will accuse him of being crazy this time, but he surely has the hand for it. Oh, bad
dear.
news for Veikka.
That is bad timing, bad news, just about everything. And it's going to be an all-in. Yeah, Veikka was kind of chancing his arm a little bit with a couple of those maybe disrespectful opens.
As you can see, he's blocked with the diamonds as well, so this is looking bad for Veikka
just
right
a total
now.
disaster. You can see 3% that we can see on the... that must be because both
not often
kings
you
are
get it
folded.
in, 3% in Omaha.
Pre-flop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, the card removal does play a big...
That's the check mark already on the turn, unfortunately, for Veikka, who will be leaving us in 6th place then.
Nicely done. Aki's basically bulldozing this final table so far, so it could be a runaway job for the well-known Finn player. It's a shame, but he at least he went out with the fight.
Yeah. Absolutely. Saying goodbye. So 2 Finns are out then. It's evening out.
Yeah. So we've got 3 Finns left.
Yeah.
A Latvian and a Ukrainian.
Yes. And Aki building and building. As we said, he was short stacked just like 2 hours ago when there were 9-10 people still in this one. And now I think he's in the chip lead, right? Taking
He must
over
be,
now, from
you
Mikael.
can see, even just looking at the chips there on the bird's eye view.
Yeah, the table is leaning over to the right here now. Mikael and Aki with all the chips. But Mikhailo, quiet so far on the final table, sits with 280. It's good for 14 big blinds. And comparing that to Hold'em as well then, the number of big blinds.
Yeah, well, you can only play pot limit pre-flop, right? So you can only make it 3.5. So it's like quite awkward sometimes playing this 15 big blind stack because often you want to pot commit and you don't generate as much fold equity as in Hold'em, where you're just going all in, for example.
Yeah.
So you get into these quite thorny, low stack to pot ratio situations. It can be quite tricky, as we see here. So Mikael versus Dennis. Dennis defending with a double suited ace 7-8-4, lovely hand. And Mikael here opening up a little bit. The chip leader folding in the cutoff, and he says, you know what, I'm going to take a little bit of a stab at the blinds. Double suited hand, follows it up with a bet and gets it through. So bumper prize pool of well over 100k here, 115.6k in the prize pool, which is once again fantastic for what is deemed to be a mixed game.
Now then, over to the 5-card format. We did 1 orbit of 4-card PLO, and now 5 cards. And Aki still picking up good starting hands.
He's had some good distribution so far, to be fair. He's had aces, kings, a couple of other hands as well that were playable. And yeah, this is the issue with 5-card. It's quite tricky as a short stack, because you just know that you're not going to be able to achieve much fold equity pre and post flop. And yeah, it's very difficult to surge up and get steals through and pick up chips. Kind of have to commit yourself at some point, which is quite scary when you're playing for pay jumps and you're trying to out-jostle the other short stacks. Dennis folding this double suited hand. Mikaelo is definitely going to be playing this hand in some capacity. Limping seems quite reasonable with the 4 diamonds. Doesn't want to like pot, overly commit himself. Happy just to limp. He's going to be limping a lot because he's getting a great price with the big blind ante as well. And ace ace 4, typically a board that you do see the small blind stab a lot on. I do think we can't just like range stab the flop, but this one gets through.
And looking at our YouTube chat, we did have some cheers for Veikka as well from Vili, but unfortunately wasn't enough to keep him in the game. So
he wanted to say hello to his family, if you go back to the information there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we lost him before we got time to do that, but we had a little small interview with all the players, and Veikka wanted to say greetings to his friends and Huli family.
Yeah. Says he's a keen paddle player who loves to gamble. Seems like a bit of a party guy, actually.
Yeah.
He's always bringing good energy to the table.
So hopefully he's bringing good energy somewhere else in the premises right now then.
Straight to the bar or the cash games is my bet.
Yeah, or the paddle.
Or the paddle, exactly.
Mikhailo now, no, folding the ace 9-8, etc. And Mika, decent hand, small blind.
Yeah, kind of a
Hello.
defensive strategy versus the chip leader here, just looking to limp in, not overcommit himself. Very easy to limp call this hand as well, connected, double suited. And what do we have here? So it's going to be top pair and a gut shot for Mika, and Aki has got the bottom end of the straight draw with a pair of 3s. Okay, so Mika decides to take the initiative straight away and gets a small bit of equity there to fold. Not a bad result.
Yep. Is it the first laydown for Aki on this final table?
Yeah, he's been active, isn't
Yeah.
he? He's been in a lot of pots. I think he relinquished the last hand, gave him a bit of respite.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
He's definitely been in the mix.
Spending up from 400 something to 1.4 million, now 1.3. So yeah, good run so far on this final table for Aki, the veteran. So a lot of cards to throw for the dealer. 5-card Omaha.
Lovely overhead view there.
Yeah. Dennis now.
Yeah, he's getting a
in
lot of
deck
these
10.
kind of like okay hands.
Yeah.
You might open them in a cash game, but in this kind of situation, just going to be letting go.
Yeah, because of course there's a lot of pretty shorter stacks now, and there's an ICM in play, of course, with the laddering of the price pool as well.
Exactly. And you, in some senses, when you don't have a super strong hand, it's almost better for you to sit it out and let the chip leader do the work for you. You know, you can
and
actually
let Aki just do the work.
exactly. You can
run them over.
You can sit back and make money just by watching the hand. Sometimes it's rather nice.
That's an interesting flop though, for Mikael.
Yeah, it kind of looks like we have something with Mikael's hand. We've got bottom 2, right? So yeah, bottom 2 and some backdoor spade potential.
Aki with the blockers, 4s, and small flush draw, but he lets it go.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough hand to continue with, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really sure where you're at on just about any turn card.
Yeah, and also against the other big stack on the table. So wait it out. Let someone else risk their seat.
Yeah, exactly. Just losing the one big blind at the end of the world.
And Mikael here in picture now. He won the 8th game the other day. You spoke to him. We heard it before this one, but yeah. And he also, here's more information about him.
Won a spade in the EPT Paris PLO. So someone that seemed to have a decent amount of PLO experience on his resume.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what he's got in store for us.
So an avid Omaha player then, but he told you in the interview, in case you missed it, that he played the 8th game learning by doing.
Yeah, exactly. Just some of the games he was playing for the first time, which is kind of the whole point of 8 game, right?
Yeah.
Just you can't be an expert in every format, but it's a great entry level type thing, you know, playing a slightly smaller than normal bind just to get yourself some reps and experience. And he ended up winning it.
Yeah,
So congratulations.
even a trophy. So yeah,
There
well
you go.
done. Just 2 days ago, he took down the 350 8 game, and now he's here on the final table of the 1100, and of course also staying for the main event coming up. And also today, later on today, we have an interesting tournament coming up, the 5K
Ooh.
Progressive Bounty.
Wow. Okay.
Hold'em, of course, and each bounty starting with 2K, and then progressive. So it's going to be huge ones at the end of that one. And
Wow, that's the high roller's wet dream, huh?
yeah. And of course, we are streaming that final table for you as well. So stay tuned tomorrow for that one. But today we will concentrate on this PLO, and hopefully tonight also be able to bring you some high stakes cash game as we had yesterday on the stream.
Yeah, let's see what we can wrestle up.
Yeah.
It's not always so easy to wrestle up a cash game. It's a lot of logistics behind the scenes. You got to get guys in the same place at the same time, which sounds easier than it is in reality. You know, people want to go out, see the city. Some people are going to like a bar, restaurant. Some people are, you know, meeting some friends elsewhere.
Some people might be just going to bed.
Yeah, exactly. They've been up all night playing cash or blackjack or whatever. You
Yeah.
never know what these guys are up to. So Mikael.
Now then, Mikhailo, it's go time.
Yeah, I think he's just going to call, actually. Don't think we're going to have much perceived fold equity versus Aki's stack. He's going to shove. Okay, fair enough. Praying for a fold. He's not going to get it, and this is the issue. This is why I prefer calling in 5 card. You're just not generating any fold equity.
No.
So, you know, defend, and then you can lead some flops, and then you kind of create another street, if you know what I mean, where you can sort of push in and gain that sort of first mover advantage, I'd call it.
Now then, this, of course, an interesting flop with the flush draw for Mikhailo and the over pair and the open-ended for Aki.
Yeah, Aki's got the wrap there on the bottom end. Jack 10-8. And
Still though, just 28%.
Mikhailo covering those diamonds. That's a nice sort of bit of
block.
domination, really, for him. It's about as good as he could have hoped to be with this type of hand. That's a 9, so looking pretty good. Just needs to fade a jack, a 10, an 8, or a deuce.
That's
An
so.
ace is a complete break. And that's going to win for
Yep.
Mikhailo.
So nice double up. All of a sudden he's up to 550 now. So good shape. Mikhailo from Ukraine. Dennis looking disappointed in the background. Ah,
Well,
now I'm the short
At
one.
least he's honest, right? Doesn't need to hide it.
No.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a sour taste in the mouth when you see the short stacks doubling. It does feel like, anecdotally, it's always the short stacks doubling.
Yeah,
but I guess
right.
that's just the way that you look at it in your memory, right? It's kind
Exactly.
of like you forget when they bust.
Perceived,
Yeah.
Oh, chip leader Aki Pysing first to act in the next round then. And still on the 5 card, right? No, we're back now. Yeah, we just switched back to the 4 card format. So
Yeah,
king
with
10
those
deuces.
eliminations, so the button's getting around a lot
Yeah.
quicker now. So that's the only downside of the format. Sometimes it's a bit
Yeah.
ridiculous when you're playing heads up. You're like, it's sort of like,
It's more like you should do like more than just a round when you're down to 3,
Yeah.
4, right?
yeah,
Should
exactly.
be more like double rounds maybe. An
Yeah,
ace is an 8.
or a level.
Yeah, or levels, yeah. Mikhailo now making it max 75. And as we are up to the 10-25k blinds now, 25k big blind ante, but no one wants to go against his aces this time.
No, and even so, picking up 2 big blinds there on a FT, it's a fairly acceptable situation.
Yep.
It's not like in Hold'em where you get aces on the final table and you think, right, this is the one. You know, there are some dangers
Yeah.
in PLO, but he'll be happy to pick up the chips at the very least.
Mikael first now then, and he's been rather quiet on this final table so far. Came in as a chip leader, but still holds almost 1 million.
Yeah, not seen much from Dennis. Here he
No.
is. And should be potting this one in. Or he's going to go for the smaller sizing, the sort of Hold'em style 2.2x. Gets it done.
And Aki now below the million, so almost even in chips, Mikael and Aki for the chip lead right now, as Dennis also closing in with 680. So no one's really in any danger with being too short right now.
Yeah,
Still
it's
have-
interesting, this 2.2x, because you think in a tournament format with the big blind ante short-handed, you're not really going to be folding anything. But if in practice people are folding 4-card hands versus it, then maybe it's slightly better because you risk less, right?
Yeah.
If you run into a big hand, you can get away with some of your holdings. I don't think you would have folded to a 3-bet with that particular hand, but you get what I mean. So
Absolutely, yep.
yeah, so Dennis folding now. Got his little steal through and back to the waiting game. So Mika on the button can't be playing that kind of trash.
Aki then, what do we make of this one in the small blind? Jack high, double suited.
Yeah,
Not much of a hand really,
playing,
but still
playing
wanna
kind
see
of
the flop.
limp and a bit of raising basically. You
Yeah.
do slightly cover your opponent, but you're quite deep and out of position that loses relevance somewhat.
And almost identical hands for these guys, but it's Aki hitting the 7, but as you can see, the flush for Mikael already gets him almost a check mark, I was about to say, but there's a deuce on the turn, so
Yeah,
some
7
outs
or a
for
deuce.
Aki.
I like this check back from Mikael. Keep your opponent's range kind of wide. Maybe invite some stabs on the turn from hands that are just kind of airballing and looking to take down the pot. And Aki, quite honest with the way he's played the blind versus blind confrontation so far. He did check fold the 8 high flush draw
Yeah.
for the small bet. Now just snap folding with the 2 pair there. Maybe an area that could be looked at for Mikael if he's going to go through those hands maybe on the break or something and say, actually, you know what, maybe I can get away with a few things versus this guy. So back to Mikhailo. He's going to fold. Mika with the double suited ace-9, 5-4. Certainly a playable hand. I think folding would be a little bit tight. There's no like major short stack here, so Not loads of ICM pressure on him, just wants to still try and V-pip and beaver away. Dennis is going to come in for the defend here with the Queen Jack 8-6. Getting a decent price in the blinds, and also he does cover his opponent, so that means that you're going to see potentially somewhat more of an honest post-flop type of response from the guy who is covered.
King 6, so...
Yeah, with that nut flush draw, definitely both options on the table here, checking and betting. Quite like the fact that he's even thought about checking. Most people auto c-bet, and then when they face a raise don't know what to do, so it is nice to knuckle back some of these nut flush draws sometimes. Gives us some coverage in our more passive routes when we do turn clubs, for example.
And queen on the turn for Dennis. Throws it around in his favor.
Yeah, he's turned 2 pair, and he's just going to let it go. And it's just, you know, this is another example of potentially people just not really fighting for pots out of position, playing very honest and not defending anything, not making those tricky little uncomfortable, let's say.
Yeah, and we did talk about the ICM, and we haven't really talked about the pay jumps, though, and the payouts in this one. So we should say that the next person out, 5th place, will be 7,750. 4th place is 10,050. 3rd, 14.3. 2nd place gets 20,500, and up top is 30,570 euros. So quite significant pay jumps coming up, as the one now then would be a little over 2,000 between 5th and 4th. So yeah, sure. Any one of these, all of them looking to ladder up, of course, and get to that very top 30k. Nice payout for a PLO tournament, of course. And 123 runners started this one, so.
Where's the big blind here then? It might be Mikael, but maybe he's forgotten to put it in or something. Anyway, over to Mika with the quad suit, ace 9-6-4. Certainly not going to be a hand that I think he's going to be entering the pot with.
No, most likely not.
Does fold. Very experienced player. Got quite a strong Hendon Mob resume of mostly Omaha and mixed game cashes.
Yeah, well.
Playing a lot of the smaller field events and doing quite well for himself by the looks of things. I think he was in the top 80 on the Finnish all-time money list, which is definitely a good achievement.
Definitely, yeah. And
strong nation.
Probably him and Aki has played a lot of pots together throughout the years then.
Yeah, exactly. I think this one is maybe... Okay, yeah, it wasn't the King 4-4 deuce. It was the Ace King 10 deuce instead. Does defend Mikael here. Flopping a 9. He's got some kind of interaction with the Jack as well. Backdoor spades. And takes it down with the small bet. Happy to just stab really small there, covering his opponent. Probably going to face a rather honest check raising strategy on this kind of board. It's going to be lots of 8x and maybe a wrap or some kind of funky bluff, but not that often.
So if you're watching and interested in the Kings of Tallinn, more information about the event, you can head to olybetevents.com or olybet.tv, and you will find the schedule and also the live blogs in both Finnish, Estonian and English that will be covering the 5K at least today, starting in the afternoon, and of course also giving you the updates from all the other tournaments going on. I know we have a ladies event coming up today and also a meet and greet. So if you're in the nearby of the Hilton Hotel Tallinn, there will be some free snacks and maybe something small to drink as well. And a show, of course, with our lovely host, Televira, on stage at 6 o'clock tonight in the Olympic Casino.
Lovely stuff with the staff band.
Yeah, of course. And it's really a staff band because we have both the head of floorman, Olivier, on bass, I think, right?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. You have to be to play the bass.
Those are the true rock stars, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The bass players. Not sure what happened with Mika now, but he was showing his cards. Maybe he wanted to play deuce to 7. Is that what he's saying?
Not sure,
Yeah.
Who else have we got in the staff band?
Jarko.
Oh, playing the drums.
Yeah, playing the drums. And and of course Televira on vocals. And then I think they're using some of Televira's band members to do the rest.
Okay.
With the
Filling
keyboard.
in.
Filling in, yeah. Or maybe, do you aspire on a seat? Do you have any skills? Anything you want to do for
maybe
next?
I could do the triangle or something. Backing vocals? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. yeah. We've seen you
More of a
on
singer,
the karaoke.
Yeah, I love a bit of Red Hot Chilies, maybe.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up on Sunday, no doubt.
That's the second meet and greet chance you have, guys, on Sunday, the Shamrock karaoke. But for now, let's stick to the PLO guys. And Dennis now on 580 to start the hand. Makes it 55, almost a min raise.
Whoa,
Aki.
that's a lot of queens.
Now,
Double suited though.
Mika wanted to play deuce to 7 last hand. Aki maybe want to play Sviten this hand then.
Yep.
So
I think I might have defended with the two suits. I mean,
yeah.
such a small sizing. Gonna see our opponent not exactly having free reign to blast off against us. So
I mean, that's one of the few times that you have a trip hand that you probably
That you might
you're
call.
okay defending,
yeah,
right?
just in the big blind facing a small open, like just completing, you know, and can use them to your advantage as well. You're going to block
Yeah.
some straights. So here we go. Biggest track score of 10K. Came third in this event, but the KO version at the World Series of Poker circuit that we ran here earlier in the year.
Yeah. Big event, that one as well.
Yeah, that one got, I think, also well over 100 runners, right?
Yeah. Card just flying. 5 of them coming your way.
Yeah.
And let's see. Dennis doing a good job spreading all the cards in the box for us so we can read them
Yep.
and show you the whole cards, of course. And Mika now folding.
Back over to Aki, who's been
Slow down a little bit, right?
yeah, not doing much in these blind v blind confrontations. Doing a lot of limping, kind of giving up post flop kind of easily. Mikael has pure trash, one of the rare hands that you might have folded versus the small blind open in
And now
position.
just as we talked about, you have to spread the cards. So and the dealer tells Aki to please spread them for us.
Yeah, here we go. So both players not with an awful lot.
No.
Aki's got the 7s here with the 3. Mikael has a 10 of hearts. That could maybe come in handy. And then we do have the 4 on the turn. So Mikael's got this kind of like bottom 2 hand with the 10 of hearts. You might want to kind of bet here. It's a bit of a merge. You're kind of trying to fold out hands like this and also setting up for some bluffs on the river.
Yeah. And of course, if we haven't mentioned it, for the PLO, you have to use 2 cards from your hand. So that's why still Michael having the 4-3. He's behind the 7s of Aki
Certainly was.
with the 2 pair with aces and 7s. But it's Mikael taking the pot. So
Yep. I think good awareness there. Nice initiative, definitely. I think it's quite easy just to sort of surrender those pots blind versus blind. But not seeing Aki put up much of a fight so far. So certainly a good spot for Mikael with his particular seat position to take advantage of that.
Yep. And here we have it, the full chip count for us. We can see that they're between 510K up to Mikael's 1.1 million now. So not too much of a differences between the stacks, and just about 20-25 big blinds for all of these guys right now as we're playing 10-25K blinds and 30-minute levels. So it's not going to take all night.
No.
If you have a bus to catch or a stew to get out of the oven, you'll have time later on, but we'll surely be playing for a few more hours with this final table to crown our winner in the 1100 PLO 4-5 cards. And we're on the 5 card now with Mika opening 260. Suited ace 4, 10, 5, 5. And Dennis not defending with the 4s.
Does the job.
And Aki sits back up straight in his chair.
Yeah, I feel like in these this particular format, it's actually the 5 card where you can really run away with it because the equities run so close and everyone's well aware of that. People aren't going to be putting up much of a fight and just looking to kind of take things slow. So taking the initiative in the 5 card rounds can be certainly a profitable strategy by the looks of how these games are playing out.
And Just Fun X in the chat here is agreeing with us that he thinks that Aki should have defended with the ace triple queens. It's the min race and he was in the big blind. So yeah, we agree on that one. But Aki's on the final table and you and me are not, George. So I mean, this guy got it going. And what else in the chat? Hikimies, we recognize your name as well from the chat since this summer, and he's asking if Aki has a full glass of red wine. A glass, I guess you mean, but no, I don't think we've seen any red wine. He's taking it.
Yeah, it's looking
seriously
business, strictly business.
Yeah.
You can see Mikael's got a little Carlsberg there on the go. Like an alcohol-free beer as well, so just getting the taste, but not having the potential downside of.
Yep, and Hikimies is also asking about the dominations of the chips. We have a 5 case and 25 case, right?
Yeah, so the reds are 5Ks and the greys are 25, as you can see there just on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, so you were perfectly right, Hikimies. That's the chips we are using.
King high board, kind of disconnected, expecting your opponent to have lots of hands like queens, jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s that we could potentially get to fold, but with our particular hand having a backdoor flush draw, 3 hearts, he's going to bet it, and I guess he's just going to be going for like a strategy where he basically bets every hand on that board, which is fair enough, quite difficult to play against in this situation when you're covered, and Mikaelo indeed has to fold queens with 2 backdoor flush draws. So the power of the c-bet, it's the old school power move, but certainly in ICM situations it's very much part of the winning player's arsenal. Just leaning on your opponent, kind of stabbing. The efficiency of the sizings can be even really small and you still achieve exactly the same as a conventional half pot without the ICM pressure. So good to see that Mikael is starting to move through the gears here on the final table. 5 left, blinds and antes going around quickly. And definitely the time to put your foot on the gas and kind of break away from the pack.
Yep, absolutely. And as we said, there is a 30-minute clock, so soon we will be raising the blinds as well. And then we will be up to the 15-30,000, and then 20-40 and 25-50 and so on. Is the blind levels that are coming, so yeah. With the 30-minute clock, it's not going to take too long to get short stacked, even if you are on 20 big blinds right now. So Mika folding from the big blind with the 8s. So small pickup for Dennis then is raised from the button.
Kind of one of the weaker hands I think he'd open there, but opening into 2 short to medium stacks with having an ace blocker is quite a key component of your hand when you're thinking about steals there.
Yeah.
You want to have good removal for hands that can 3-bet you in the small blind or the big blind. So choosing this, what looks to be a kind of raggedy hand, is actually going to be quite a efficient open there. Nice little steal. Well played. Very important when you're the sort of short medium stack in PLO not to just kind of end up blinding out and getting sucked into waiting for a super premium. You do have to take some of these spots when they present themselves to you. For example, the 2 chip leaders are out of the hand and we've got the button versus 2 other medium stacks. Great opportunity to steal there and apply a little bit of pressure. So Mikael's been having not the best card distribution considering his stack. And Mikaelo here, kind of an awkward hand actually.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, right?
It is
not
tricky.
Connecting with the 10s and 4s and single suit, but still it's one of those that you feel that you have to play, but maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, I would probably limp this hand, to be honest. I think getting 3-betters are a real disaster here, and we are going to see Aki put the chips in. I believe he played the kings similarly, small blind versus button earlier. versus Mika, and now I don't see any reason why he would slow down here. And this is the issue now. Mikhailo has got this kind of hand that doesn't really want to call a 3-bet. Okay, so he does just defend Aki, taking the maybe the slightly more conservative route. His opponent just starting the hand with around 15 blinds, so definitely generous of him to allow his opponent to flop here.
Yeah, and
Mikhailo
Mikhailo not hitting the 10s and 4s, and no flush draw.
Yeah, just apart from those 2 10s, which are both red, he doesn't really have an awful lot of flop interaction.
Ooh.
But hello, that's a turn card. And what do we have here for Aki now? He's got that King 9 gutter. Blocks some straights himself. 1 club, 1 spade. Maybe a bit too much showdown to just start randomly bluffing from the big blind here. Not sure what betting the dry over pair does achieve. So Mikhailo now going for the delayed c-bet and getting it done, half pot.
Yep.
That's enough for Aki. Let his opponent off for free there.
Yeah. And Hikimis says in the chat that he's always trying to be with us here and watching these poker acquaintances on the TV table as well. And he's asking if we're having fun as well
Sure
as
are.
commentators. And sure we are.
Absolutely. Enjoying it, enjoying the action. So
Definitely.
we had 2 fast eliminations, and now we've got kind of that middle final table plateau where
Yeah.
the action isn't so vivacious, but still enjoying it nonetheless. It's a pleasure to be here for sure.
And Dennis now folding and still on the 4-card format. And Mikhailo, look at this. 2 in a row now as he makes it another 60 to go with the aces, single suit clubs. And Mika is Jack 6-4 out in position, but not defending with this one on the button. Aki, small blind. Jack 10-10-9, single suit. Lets it go.
Surprised he folded that hand, I think, versus that small raise there. He could definitely have some flats from the small blind there.
Yeah.
Very connected hand. Quite easy to play, you know, when when you've hit big and when you haven't.
So look at this one then. Clubs for both of them. King high and ace high flush draws for Mikhailo and Mikael. So this might be some trouble for Mikael now. Not connecting in much any other way. That he has the gut shot with the 10 as well. But of course, king high flush draw is normally pretty strong in this position. And he calls the 75. Continue from Mikhailo.
Yeah, a bit of a
King
cooler
now.
type hand
Yeah.
here. And now Mikhailo's really interesting turn decision here. Aces with the nut flush draw. He blocks ace 10.
Yeah.
He's now behind a lot of 2-pair type holdings, though. King queens, king jacks, queen jacks are going to be quite likely. So the decision now, I think, is do we just pot it in and try and maybe even turn our hand into like a semi-bluff, trying to get a hand like maybe a jack 4 or a king jack to consider folding. He goes for half pot. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that sizing.
Yeah. Now the quick fold from Mikael. And Mikhailo up to 680.
Yeah, well played, sir.
Just on the million. As you can see in the background, 5 left and 6 minutes left of this level before we will be raising the blinds again.
Any predictions? Who do you think's going to walk away with it, wise guy?
My first prediction was actually Aki, but
Seems like he's on a bit of a downward trend at the moment.
yeah, a little bit. But I'm gonna take maybe an outsider. I'm gonna go with Dennis.
Okay, wow. Wasn't expecting Dennis.
No, me neither.
Just rolling with it.
Yeah. I don't think that Mika is gonna need some more. You're gonna step it up a little bit. He's been like a little bit too passive, maybe.
Yeah, just kind of waiting, playing the waiting game. Mikhailo's done quite well. That was a well-executed pot there, just
Yeah.
showing a lot of initiative and aggression. Mika here with the ace 10, 8, 8. Certainly a viable hand to consider getting in there with.
Yeah, he heard me. Now he gives some action.
Yeah. Who are you calling tight? Straight back in the mix. And
Maybe he's not too happy with the position to have Aki on his left as well.
yeah, he's got the worst seat in the house, really, with the 2 chip leaders on his direct left. It does mean that he's got to be really careful with his opens, in theory, because he should be getting 3-bet a reasonable amount. Whether that's going to happen in practice in PLO tournaments remains to be seen. You often do see people potentially under 3-betting in the tournament format, just looking.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, you normally, like in Hold'em, you can have 3 or 4 or 5 bets, and it doesn't happen in the PLO format because you do want to see that flop and not waste too much.
Kind of peeling, right?
Yeah.
And the game starts on the flop. Really, no one's looking to overcommit pre-flop. There are definitely opportunities to do so, but you got to pick them very carefully. Spots to get 3-bet bluffs through and pre-flop are quite rare. So Mika earned himself the blind and the ante for the next round, and happy to relinquish that one. Here comes Aki with a nice hand. King, King, Jack 10. Maybe he can bounce back a little bit. His stack dipping below 1 million.
Yeah. So far, no takers.
Yeah, and he had
out as well.
He had that hand absolutely crushed. The King 10 3-deuce rainbow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Didn't have much of a fighting chance and does fold that into big blind. So blinds and antes once again.
Yep.
Again, kind of a slightly slower pace.
I'm actually going to step out for a little while. I have a 5K to attend to.
Oh,
not to play, unfortunately.
I was going to say, yeah. Who's putting you in that?
Yeah. So, but we will have Scott Kenyon coming in a little while. But until then, you will surely lead this one on your own with your expertise, George. And hopefully, we'll also be back then with the stream of Cash Game later on tonight. To make sure to not miss anything, follow OlyBet Poker on our socials, and we will update you about how and when it's time for that cash game. But for now, we're going to stream, of course, this PLO until the end as well. So see you soon. But George, enjoy.
Thank you, Mr. Wise Guy. So Dennis opening it up on the button here, getting a little bit spicy with the 9-7, 6-3 deuce, but again opening into the 2 shorter stacks. Feels like he's going to get a lot of steals through. Maybe less so in 5 card. People tend to over-defend the big blind in this game. Going to have kind of a stab at it here with his 9 high flush draw, 3 clubs. Gets middle pair to fold and gets the job done. Nicely done from Dennis. So in a little bit of a sort of down period, not much action, people kind of feeling their way around, trying to navigate their way into the final 3 and beyond for those podium positions. Happens quite often in PLO tournaments. It's kind of almost a stalemate sometimes. And come down to a lot about pre-flop card distribution. What sort of cards are being dealt. Dennis is starting to take a bit of initiative though. Yeah, like this kind of open here, the tri-suit. Not amazing side cards, but it's nice to see some heart and the fact that he's adjusting to what's going on around him, which is, you know, not exactly aggressive play. He's going to get a lot of these opens through. Aki does have quite a natural defend here with the Queen Jack 9-6-3 double. Happy to take a flop. And flops middle pair with the nut gut shot, backdoor jack high flush draw, so definitely a piece. Dennis is going to just randomly stab with not a whole lot of anything really, and gets it through. Wow, look at these folds that are being made here. Not a lot of defending going on, you have to say. Hikim is saying Mikko and Aki have played together a lot, so position isn't that much of a big deal. He's played with them, and he'd say in 4-card Omaha they are the best, but they always play tight. Okay. Interesting. So another limp pot blind versus blind between the two chip leaders. Aki flops top 2 this time, and so does his opponent, so could be an interesting pot here. Aki with that 10 of spades, maybe a little bit better of better side cards with it. Kyle Thesfield saying this is the tightest table I've ever seen. Yeah, welcome to PLO tournaments. It does tend to be like this. Everyone feeling each other out. So Aki turns 3 pair. Likely to see him just pot the turn, I think. What he's going to go for on the double flush draw texture. Just looking to charge/deny equity here with the bigger sizing. Wow, and Mikhail just folding the bare 2 pair there, maybe considering that he hasn't seen much aggression from Aki at all, and he feels like best case scenario he's going to have the same hand. Worst case scenario he's going to be up against a set there, and that could be very problematic for the King Jack. Mikhailo is going to fold his Queen Jack 10-10-4. Good timing, as Mika's definitely got a playable hand here with this double suited King Jack 10-6. Lovely holding. And he is going to pop it up to 80 by the looks of things. Over to Dennis in the big blind. He's definitely looks like a defender. Likes to get in the mix from what we've seen so far. Fortunately, we can't see his cards. He's forgotten to fan them. Yeah, here we go. And he does have a sort of double tri-suit hand. Ace, 9, 7, 6 deuce. Fair enough. Wow. quads for Mika, who takes the check mark, of course. It's going to be difficult for Dennis to beat that. Snap checks back, as you'd imagine, wanting to allow his opponent to try and catch up if they've got some kind of pocket pair that may check fold the flop. Wants to allow them to river a boat or turn a boat. And rather difficult for Dennis to consider doing an awful lot here. Ooh, reaching for chips here. Is he going to hero this? It is kind of a bit of a puzzling line, you think. My opponent's repping king 7 or kings. I've got a 7. Could go down that rabbit hole, but doesn't allow himself to do so. Just giving up. And here you have it, Aki at the top of the rankings, trying to sail his way back over to 1 million chips. So 1 out of 5 with the business end yet of the PLO4-5 championship to come. Playing down to a winner tonight. And we had 2 quick-fire eliminations, and since then it's been a little bit of a stalemate between these guys, just jostling for position. Mika once again with the pocket kings, a little bit of a downgrade from the last one, as he only has 1 suit and slightly worse connectivity with the side cards, but hey-ho, beggars can't be choosers. Lovely hand to play, and he does go for the limp. Interesting, doesn't want to face a 3-bet potentially. Actually quite like this play, I think, without the ace. It's a problematic hand to face a 3-bet with. You're likely to be folding a decent amount of equity, or calling and going to these awkward situations post-flop, so limps and does allow his opponent here, Dennis, to flop rather well. Top pair with the nut flush draw here, leading, and the reason for the lead is maybe he can get some better hands to fold, some bear over pairs, something kind of like Mika's hand here. Even half pot might get the job done. Does have a 9, but I mean, what's a good turn card apart from the offsuit king? Not an awful lot to work with here. Yeah, I definitely could have gone smaller on the river with the quads in the previous hand. Okay, so there's the check mark for Dennis as his hand just goes from good to great, turning the flush, and also has a second pair as well, so gives him absolutely nothing to fear. And I quite like checking here when we've got the 2-pair blockers. I think our opponent's range is going to be somewhat weak, just calling here. Lots of like overpairs with Jack 10 type holdings. You know, we unblock all of the 10s, the 8s, the jacks, so it's going to be a lot of just gut shots. And you want to give your opponent an opportunity to bet there, because when we're leading the flop, we're not representing the draw, we're representing value. We're saying we've got sets of 2 pairs. So naturally, it's quite good to mix in some checks there when you have the flush, but not only the flush, but with those 2-pair blockers to give you a little bit less to worry about on the pairing up. Regardless, gets the job done. So Mikael goes for the 2.5x here with the rainbow hand, but one of the better looking rainbow hands. Mikael is facing a 2.5x in the small blind here with a player behind. Yeah, conventionally just going to be folding here. wanting to allow this collision with the shorter stack and the big blind to defend, and maybe the other two go to tango post-flop. Kind of the game you got to play when you are in that short to medium stack position, just camping out, allowing other people to put chips in against each other and potentially bust. So we got a dealer change, which on the cash game stream yesterday meant €200 bomb pot. I don't think I can promise the same here, but 4 and 5 card Omaha tournament action will be continuing for sure with the 5 left. 123 runners generating a prize pool of €116,000. Not bad for a PLO event. And the numbers continue to be very healthy here in Estonia. Last festival we were doing the commentary on was the WSOPC. Got a great turnout, and we're expecting numbers to be similar, if not better, here this week. So Mikael here with his King Jack 10 deuce is going to fold. I think that's a little bit on the conservative side as the chip leader, wanting to impart some aggression and take initiative a little bit, but fair enough. Everyone's got their own ideas. Dennis does open with the double suited ace queen 6 deuce. Nice to see him getting in the mix and taking that initiative that was maybe left open from the fold there from Mikael. And I think with a table like this, as we've said so many times on these PLO tournament streams, it is just a question of taking initiative, and maybe some of the rule book in terms of like what you should and shouldn't be doing kind of goes out the window if the chip leaders are not going to be in your face or so confrontational. So Dennis can't open that one, but definitely his aggression and initiative has been paying off for him. Almost now battling with the guys at the top of the rankings. Again, continuing to see the more conservative style from Aki out of position, facing his fellow countrymen. Showing a lot of respect in these blind versus blind battles. Swing and a miss really for Aki. It does have the bottom end of the gut shot. Mikael now with the 9 high flush draw. Not a lot else to go with as well. 10 on the turn improves Mikael to 2 pair. Aki just continuing to disconnect with the board in some ways. His king is shown down, and the 10 is going to take it. folds round to Mikael, who's going to complete the small blind here, looking to get a cheap flop, and does see Dennis check back and allow him that opportunity. Both players with kind of similar-ish hands. Dennis obviously has the advantage with being double suited. And Mikael has a little bit of interaction with the flop here. 10-7 for the bottom end of the gutter. 7 of diamonds as well. Going to stab and receive a call from Dennis. Not exactly a comfortable spot, but definitely going to be calling blind versus blind, just facing a small sizing. Is he going to find a second barrel here? Would be pretty aggressive. Looks like he's reaching for chips. Looking to maneuver some hands like straight draws and flush draws out. That's essentially what you're targeting at this stage. Obviously, you're never getting a jack to fold. You can also potentially lean on some 9x. And he does get the job done there. Moving that queen high flush draw out of the game. So still no eliminations, and it's been maybe an hour and a half since we lost our last player, with the first 2 players exiting quite quickly. Players have currently locked up, I believe, 7,800 euros, and all 4, the top 4, I should say, will guarantee a 5-figure payout with 10, 14.3, over 20, and then the winner taking home over 30,000 euros. Ace 998 for Mika. Under the gun here. Does he want to consider limping potentially? Looks like what he's going for. Going to go for 2.5x instead. And Mikaelo has definitely got a defendable hand here with the pocket 10s. Kind of come along, try and flop a piece of it and go from there. Usually the good strategy to adopt. Let's see how his flopping skills are. Not the best. Mika here has the 8. Not an awful lot else. He is going to surrender and just check that one back. Not an ideal board for either player. Kalo here now with those 10s, maybe looking to get hands like jacks, maybe some weak kings to fold. Got that 7 blocker representing some hands like 7-6. And just kind of pouncing on the likely weakness of that flop check back. It's quite rare for you to consider many hands that are going to be strong enough to call the turn that would check back the flop. You can occasionally have some kind of weird straight from time to time with the 7-6, turning a gut shot, but by and large, likely to have missed. Dennis with the Jack 9-8-6-4 double into the 2 shorter stacks. Again, coming in with the aggression, like to see it. Oh, looks like Mika has decided to go with it, and of course he has. He's got double suited aces. Ace, ace, king, 9-8. Just about as dreamy as a spot as he could have hoped for. And I don't think we can fold this type of hand as Dennis. We are double suited, somewhat connected. It's actually much better to call this hand than maybe a hand like ace 10-10. Or is he going to fold? I think you got to give your opponent a spin here. You're playing for the big blind ante as well. The small blind's in there dead. We're never going to have worse than like 35% here. So he does get a discount. He doesn't have to put the whole stack in. You can definitely sort of see a flop and really fold for the rest on like the complete disaster boards like ace deuce deuce or king 3-3 or something like that. And that's what he's going to go for here. So he's going to take a flop with this double suited hand. It's quite a common situation for the aces to, you know, inevitably end up getting cracked in these kind of situations. But that's just the nature of the game. The equities run close. He's not doing anything wrong by defending here. Pre-flop is Dennis. You can see he wasn't exactly thrilled of the prospect and maybe was considering a way out, but there we go, middle pair and an open-ender. That's going to be good to go, really. So Mika puts the rest in. And we are off to the races here. 59% for Dennis. He's got a pair, an open-ender, and a whole load of side cards. Mika hoping to fade everything. A great card for him would be a deuce or a 9, for example. A 10 as well. There's the jack, so 2 pair for Dennis, and Mika has an open-ender as well. And jack 9. So the full house for Dennis is going to eliminate Mika. I don't think he's seen that he's lost, actually. He thought he might have held that one up there. And good job, but unlucky on this occasion. Does feel like that's the nature of the game in PLO tournaments. Your opponent ends up peeling a 3-bet versus your aces. You get it in at SBR point whatever, and you're hitting the rail shortly after. So down to 4, and all of these guys have now guaranteed themselves a 4-figure payday. Good stuff, boys. 10K is guaranteed, playing all the way up to just over 30,000 for the winner here. So plenty of euros in play. So Dennis, who I liked his game, and he was actually Wise Guy's surprise pick, has certainly shown a lot of initiative and a lot of raw aggression, which I think helps a lot in these lineups. And with this card stack distribution as well, you can see 20 to less than 40 big blinds. So stacks are quite bunched and evenly matched. Just that person who's going to pull away from the pack is going to really be able to benefit from that. And look at this from Dennis, continuing to put his foot on the gas here with the Jack 10 9 7 3. Not a hand that some of these other players I think would likely to be open in a similar situation. Couldn't get my words out. Aki coming along, similar hand but single suited, so definitely slightly less value. As you can see, the equities are 58.42. And Dennis also is going to likely to over-realize that equity in position. Just going to be stabbing a lot of flops and getting folds. We saw Aki check folding all sorts of middling kinds of hands in these blind versus blind or late position versus late position spots. So the C-bet will definitely be doing a great job in that situation, and does on this occasion as well. One more out, absolutely. So down to 4. If you have any questions or want to share anything, get over onto our YouTube chat over at OlyBet Poker, and feel free to join the conversation. Going to be commentating on my own for the time being, and then I think we're going to be joined by Poker Bras Scott Kenyon. See how he's getting on this week. He's grinding away at the leaderboard for now. So Dennis folds. He's done a good job in the last couple of orbits. And here's Aki continuing to play this limp heavy strategy from the small blind. Will there be a stream for the 5K? Yes, but we're going to be streaming the day 2 action, so we're going to be back tomorrow with that one. Okay, good flop for Aki here, flopping a pair of kings and 2 backdoor flush draws. And Mikael is out the way, even though he's got a bottom pair and 2 backdoor flush draws himself, just surrendering. Cards in there once again as we are motoring through the final 4 here. First elimination in a couple of hours. As we saw Mika hit the rail there, unfortunate with his double suited aces, but kind of par for the course in 5 card. Got to take your chances and try and push in some thin equity advantages, and lo and behold, it's often a case of busting. And wow, look at that, the fold there from Aki. He had really strong hand, I think ace, king, 10, 7, 7, double suited with 2 good suits there, just kind of relinquishing. So these guys are getting away with murder, really. All of these opens are doing quite well. The c-bets seem to be working out all the time, not really seeing an awful lot of fight so far. It's been quite cagey. Where am I from, Mr. Commentator? I'm from the UK. I live and well, I was born in Reading, and I live now on the Isle of Wight, which is the southernmost part of Great Britain. I get asked that question quite a lot, actually, because my accent is a little bit, let's say, flexible, based on which nationality of people I'm speaking to. I tend to allow it to become a little bit more neutral over my travels in Europe playing poker. So Dennis in the small blind here with this single suited Jack-Jack 10-9-7. He's going to come along for the ride here. I think reasonable considering the side cards. He does have a weak suit, but it's a hand that's relatively comfortable to play. This is one of the rare occasions where we flop big, but we're kind of uncomfortable at the same time. Let's go check on the flop. Interesting. So Mikael not electing to c-bet there. He's not going to be able to do much of a job of representing flushes having check back the flop either. So this could be a really nice situation for Dennis to now try and go for a medium sizing. You got 0 showdown with those jacks, allowing a hand like kings with no heart just to win the pot here to seem a little bit criminal. So I think maybe some of Dennis's pre-flop initiative has been really good, but just potentially missing this somewhat. And Mikael now actually going for a value bet with this ace-5. Quite a strong play. Being comfortable enough to seek that thinner value, thinking that his opponent's sort of check 3 times out of position is going to be either showdown value or essentially air. So maybe we can try and look towards targeting some of the worst 2 pairs there, for example. Nicely done. Hello from Latvia, Mr. Pierre. Thanks for tuning in. Guessing you are cheering on Dennis. And everyone else, let us know who you're cheering on and who you're looking to take down this PLO 1K in the Kings of Tallinn Autumn Edition. Thanks for joining us. 4 left here, playing for over 30,000 up top. And it's Mikael is going to fold the trash there. Back to 4 card. Dennis has been quite liberal with his opens, but does elect to let that one go, and Aki receives the walk. So Pierre indeed cheering on Denis Lebedev. He didn't have much of a Hendon Mob resume, but he's been putting on a pretty strong performance so far on this final table. Here we go, we've got this 9876. Kind of connected, somewhat devalued in final table ICM because you don't have an ace and you don't have much removal in terms of strong hands that could potentially 3-bet you. Kalo with kind of an awkward situation here. The King Jack 8-7 single. It's a decent hand, but again, do we want to VPip? Do we want to allow maybe some collisions between the other guys? So when it's close, you tend to see people erring on the side of folding just to allow this type of situation and kind of sit on the sidelines, wait for the first in spots instead of cold calling. And Hikamis is rooting for Aki because he's been playing cash for 24 years. Wow. That's a long time. What were the most popular games 24 years ago? Was it Limit Hold'em or was it Pot Limit Hold'em? I saw was quite big on in terms of some Hendon mobs when you look back in the 2000s. Seeing that game played quite regularly. The cards in the air once again. Not seen any major collisions over the last sort of couple of orbits between these guys. Still feeling each other out. Kale here with the Ace Queen Jack 3. Definitely one to consider. He's going to go for the limp because he's out-chipped by his opponent, so just wants to keep the pot small out of position. Definitely be arguments for raising as well with a hand this strong, blind versus blind. Not seeing much 3-betting activity going on, so something that you would usually worry about versus the chip leader. But Dennis here with the 3-10s. Going to find it difficult to improve. And Mikael now turning a nut gut shot along with his 2-pair. Just going to take a stab at it and gets the job done. So it was Pot Limit Omaha and Courchevel. I remember that game. That was being played on PokerStars for quite some time. It's 5-card Omaha where you can see one of the cards on the flop, right? And the action starts from there, so made the hand selection quite interesting. Akipi goes for the fold again. Mikhail, let's see if he opens this one. Don't see a reason why not. Double suited with the chip lead. Happy to open up the floodgates a little bit. He's got the more active player out of the two, Dennis in the small blind, which is somewhat of a cage situation to be in when you have the shorter stack behind. Just going to end up doing a lot of folding. So off to the flop. PLO definitely with a decent candidate for cheeky big blind defend. Mikhail here with queen high flush draw. He's got some backdoor spades as well. And yeah, he goes for the check because it's one of those situations where if he gets check raised, it's not exactly ideal. Turns 2 flush draws now and picks up a pair in the form of the queen. And Mikhail now with some showdown, no real reason to bluff, and a little bit too thin of a value bet, so check does seem natural once again. And the deuce on the river completes his backdoor flush. Quite a quick and resigned check from Mikhailo there, so definitely going to be looking to find some bluffs here as well as betting our flushes, of course. Kumi's is saying most players always went broke when they hit their trips on the first card because they always overplayed it. That's true. It's definitely a tricky situation to get into when you know one but not the other 2 cards. The board texture can change quite quickly. And often you're left with just the bare set on quite a dangerous type of board. I remember that game quite well. Not my favorite game. I think I'm more into Sviten, for example, if you're sort of including games where you can kind of see one card. So in Sviten, when you do the draw, 1 card up, 1 card down. It's quite nice to have that kind of draw and informational element. Rewards the sort of more present and studious players that are keeping an eye on things. Dennis here is going to fold. Mikhailo in the small blind. Going to limp off of his sort of 12 big blind stack there, 13 big blinds. Akipi checking it back. One of those hands that is pretty decent, but no real reason to raise. Going to take a flop in position in the limp pot. And what a flop for Mikhailo. He flops top 2 pair with the 10 high flush draw. Actually 3 pair. Akipi has bottom set as well. Look at this for a collision. So the chips are going to be going in. It's just a question of how. Looks like Mikhailo is going for a check raise here. Yeah, and he does pot it in. And no way Aki's going to be folding here. He even blocks pocket 10s. I think he's probably not going to be that concerned about aces, so he knows that most of the time he's going to be up against a combo draw here. On this occasion, he's up against 3 pair with a flush draw. Also, obviously, quite a reasonable hand. But I think with the 8s here, there's absolutely no way. We've even got the gut shot to fall back on as well. We block pocket 10s. We're doing really well against a hand like ace-10 with maybe ace-jack 10-7. Whoa! Folds bottom set here. Feeling like he was up against it there. And, that is a rather conservative laydown. Have to be absolutely sure that your opponent is going to have aces in that limping range. You block 10s. Obviously, we don't have any spades in our hand, which means that the sort of flush draw or combo draws are somewhat more likely, which we're doing okay against, if not decently ahead. And apparently Max Sviten with 2 boards and 1 joker. That does sound like a chaotic game. We often play sort of pick your game on the button type games. But I haven't played that one in any rotation, that's for sure. Keep an eye out. Dennis here. Can't see his cards again. He's potentially forgetting to put them. There we go. He's going to be continuing to drive the action here with this Jack 8 7-6-5, leaning on his opponents, trying to hoover up these blinds and antes, and definitely realizing that people aren't 3-betting very often, if ever, and you know, why not take the initiative? That's what he's doing here, and rewarded for it with a decent flop. Flops the bottom end of the straight with 2 pair to boot and backdoor diamonds, and he's going to go for this check back. Really nice play from Dennis. Not really worried about any turn cards. Only the 9 would be somewhat disastrous. So he turns a boat, and now all of a sudden we've created a situation where our range looks quite weak, and we're going to allow our opponent to start stabbing into us with absolutely nothing. I don't think he misread his hand. I just think he just didn't fancy the set there in the limp pot. It's only 10 big blinds effective. For me, it's an automatic all-in, and you know, not a fist pump. I get it. We don't have much other coverage apart from our set, but it's not like we had 8-8 deuce 3-4 or something. Did have a gut shot as well, and a 10. And Mikhail goes for the stab on the turn and waves the white flag on the river. Dennis going to be getting that one through, of course, with his boat. Nicely played. Good check back. Quite easy to kind of autopilot c-bet. Oh, I flopped well. But you got to consider this. Maybe this board is slightly better for the big blind, in theory. So we know that in practice, Dennis is opening quite wide now, so he's going to have a decent amount of coverage himself. Mikhail, however, is in second on the chips. No harm done. And it's now Aki, who is the chip leader for quite some time, sat towards the bottom end of the rankings with just 16 big blinds. Mikhail as well on a similar kind of stack depth after getting that one through blind be blind with the top 3 pair. Yeah, not going to be able to play these kind of disconnected double-suited hands, even though they do look somewhat appetizing. Aki gets out the way as well. And Mikhail now. Again, continuing to limp. Yeah, could start to see some aggression here. Dennis has now got a quite comfortable lead over his opponent, so he's going to make it 120 to go.
120, sorry. 120.
Just 3x blind versus blind, so you're not going to see too many limp folds. But that's kind of why we're limping in the first place, to try and keep the pot a bit smaller and more manageable. Not overcommit out of position. Decent flop for Dennis. Got himself 2 pair with the gut shot. Follows it up with a rather quick bet and takes it down. Lovely hand here for Aki. Ace 10, 9, 7, 6 double suited pure. It's a sight for sore eyes. Does open it up. Makes it 90 to go. And wow, look at this. Mikhailo has got ace, king, king, queen, jack, single suited. Facing the other short stack, opening to 90. If I think, if we want to generalize here, I think it's quite possible that Aki's going to have multiple opening sizings, and maybe he's going to go slightly bigger sometimes with his aces. So I like the pot here. Yeah, good job. If he gets this hand to fold, then this would be an amazing 3-bet, but I think we're just pushing a good amount of equity here. Aki is going to call in position, of course, with his double-suited hand, understanding that equities run close, and he's still doing well against even hands like aces and ace-king-king, as you can see. 50-50 on the equities, even with the clubs being dominated. So just goes to show how close they run in this game. And there is a flop that is going to see the rest of the money go in, I believe. Aki's got a pair, a gut shot, a backdoor flush draw, and Michaelo has just the kings. So Michaelo has to fade a lot of outs here. Any 8, 10, ace, 9, 7, 6. It's a tough hold, that's for sure. 17 outs for Aki with 15 available, we can see in the card reader at the top of your screen. There's a 4, so that does give Michaelo a fighting chance. He's mostly looking for a board pair. And wow, look at that. The queen is somehow dodges everything. And one pair is going to take down a huge pot there. 1.3 million going in the direction of the Ukrainian. And maybe that was the sort of defining moment of Aki's final table, where he bet folded the set, blind versus blind, at quite a shallow stack to pot ratio, allowed Michaelo to get away with one there. He was ahead of Michaelo's top 3 pair, and all of a sudden the tables have turned, and now I believe Michaelo is going to be fighting for the chip lead here with almost 3 left. Aki is going to be basically committed in the next hand. He's got 10,000 left behind paying the blinds and ante. Too many out syndrome indeed. Completely brick city there. And again, just goes to show the kind of inevitable style of flips in 5 card. Just happens an awful lot. So Aki all in the big blind here. Mikhail out the way. Hoping for Dennis to do the job. Going to do this kind of unspoken agreement where he limps in, Michaelo checks, and they try and check it down and bust out their opponent. Aki's got that 10k behind. Bit cheeky. Michaelo is going to lead the flop. And Aki is actually ahead for now with his jack, but again, it's a bit of an impossible hold here, facing a flush draw, a wrap, and a backdoor club draw. This is tough. He's going to need some low cards, maybe a couple of board pairs. There's the queen, so 10-9 does take the job done. Aki is drawing dead on the turn, and we are down to 3 here in the 1K PLO Championship. Dennis under the gun here. Does fold. Michaelo with the ace-8, 7-4 double. Now with that newfound chip lead, certainly going to be opening up the ranges a little bit. Does pop it up here, and Mikhail has Jack 9-8-5, which is a hand that can 3-bet sometimes in cash games, but in tournaments you really don't want to risk getting 4-bet jammed on, especially when you're blockerless. You'd rather have an ace in your hand and potentially not be so linear like you could in cash. And it's going to go check on the flop. Halo. Just kind of checking back that medium style equity. River's 2 pairs. He's going to be very happy with this holding at this stage. Surely going to be finding a bet here, especially with that straight blocker as well. Looking to potentially target some hands like Queen 7, Queen Deuce, Queen 3. Ace Deuce sometimes could be in there. But for the most part, it's just going to have absolutely nothing and does take the pot down. Michaela said he often comes to Estonia to play online on OlyBet. And he's mostly focusing on online, but does play live from time to time, and said that this was his most significant final table in terms of his live career to date. So certainly putting in a good performance, considering maybe a little bit of added pressure with his first major final table coming under the lights of the TV table here. Can be something that is potentially overlooked by you, the viewers at home, and myself sat here in the warm commentary box, not realizing how stressful it can be sometimes to get cozy and get into your rhythm. But he's finding it well and continuing to now press on here with the ace king queen 8. Lovely hand. Dennis out the way, doesn't want to tangle with the Halo there. So Mikhail, ace queen 8-8 single, definitely worthy candidate. Opens it up, and Mikhailo looks interested here in the big blind, and certainly reason to be with the king 6-4 deuce double. Let's see a flop here, getting a decent price, and yeah, just defending that big blind ante, something that I constantly harp on about in these tournaments, but it's occasionally overlooked, the importance of how much in terms of big blinds is out there. You know, they're sharing a third of a blind each in that ante in practice. So the ranges should, in theory, be a little bit wider. Just one time baby saying payouts. Top place is getting 30.6 thousand. Second place going home with just over 20. And it's around about 14,000 guaranteed for these guys. We will get that for you very shortly. Checks to the river here. Mikhailo has clearly got no showdown, but does double block straights, so potentially a little bit weak. So just taking his deuce to showdown there. He got many opportunities from Mikhail to find some post-flop aggression there, and just allows one pair to win on a board where he's going to have a lot of straights, he's going to have a lot of sets, a lot of 2 pairs, and a lot of perceived value in that river bet. So little bit of passivity there, maybe just surrendering, checking it down a little bit. Seems like they're going to be having a 15-minute break shortly. I was just thinking, these guys are absolute warriors. Been on the TV table now for nearly 3 hours, grinding away. We started with 7 and we are down to 3, so that's going to continue after the break. Likely to be the last hand before that. Interesting posture there. Really locked in. Aces for Dennis. Quite nice having the chip leader and the small blind as well. Opening into the short stack, leaning on him somewhat. Mikael has a penta-suited hand with 5 of the same. Which in Sviten is amazing, but in this game, not so good. Going to be difficult to make a flush if you're holding 5 hearts. However, you know, so much out there, such a price, and the hand was somewhat connected, so I still think I would have seen a flop there. We are seeing a lot of respect shown pre-flop in these kind of situations. People just happy to fold to these small open sizings, not fighting for the dead money or the price that they're getting in a game where it's really difficult to have your opponent cooked pre-flop. Mikaelo has ace queen 8-6-3 double, likely to see a raise here. Keeps the foot on the gas with the 90k sizing. And Dennis is going to come along. He's a defender, he's a battler, he's not letting his big blind go so easily. Oh! What's he doing? No, I was just talking him up. I was giving you such a glowing feedback. And he does make the fold. Maybe he just wants to go on the break or something like that. Yeah, he might need a chiropractor. That's what I was thinking. Get that back cracked. There we are. There's the payouts. 14,300 for third, 20.5 for second, and almost 30.6k for first place. Plenty of money to be played. No whisperings of a deal just yet. Do have an average stack of 30 big blinds, so plenty of poker left to be played. Mikael with the Queen Jack 7-5-3 double try. Going to get out the way, allow Dennis to maybe have a swing at it from the small blind, and that's what he's going to do here. Limps in there. So the two chip stacks, or the bigger chip stacks, going at it, which is something that the short stack doesn't mind to see. And Mikaelo has flopped to 6. Yeah, which one is it? There it is. Dennis just check folding the 7, not interested in putting up much of a fight there. Didn't have any sort of straight draw or flush draw, to be fair to him. So just a naked 7, a very tricky hand to play in the 5 card. And as you can see, Mikaelo, who's the benefactor of winning that big all-in, versus Aki, about 30 minutes or so ago, crippled the fin down to crumbs, and Aki couldn't spin it up and was dead on the turn in a pot just shortly after. Mikaelo with the Queen Jack 10-4 here, going to limp. Not really a hand that he wants to raise fold or raise call. It's just quite comfortable just limp calling. He does fold though, okay. And that might be something to do with the break, just looking to go and get some fresh air or grab some food potentially. So we're going to be back in around about 15 minutes, guys. So welcome back to the booth. Seen some decent action so far, and we are down to 3. We've seen every elimination come from Finland so far. So what was once a Finnish domination at the final table, now one left, facing the Latvian and the Ukrainian. We're going to be back in around about 15 minutes. We'll see you then.
Welcome everyone to the Kings of Tallinn 2024 Autumn Edition Poker Festival. We are here at the Hilton Tallinn Park Hotel and come and check it out with me. Before we head inside, this is very important. This is our food truck with the tasty food. Look, thank you. I got some tasty French fries to keep me energized. Thanks guys. This is our beautiful merch shop and you can get some cool gear from here. For example, I really like this cup. You see, here it says OlyBet and here it says wake up, you are a winner. And you can even get it when you're not winning. And this year we have stunning stairs here where you can see all the winners. The names are printed on the stairs and you can see who won the first year. You can see Ranno Sootla, right? Then we have 2016 here, 2017, and maybe the last one will be you. And here you can take photos and look at our amazing trophies for the winners. One here and one here. Teresa, I'm so glad to see you again. Tell us what is new this time.
Kings of Tallinn Autumn Edition. Well, first of all, we're doing it for the first time in October ever. Then we're doing 59 tournaments, which is also a record number of events altogether. And I put in some special games, so we have more mixed games than ever. And we also have more higher buy-ins than ever.
What's new in the cash games as well? Can you tell us something?
I know that we have quite a few bigger cash game players coming in, so we're most likely going to run some quite high cash games as well.
Can't wait to see that. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Thank you, Teresa. If you don't know this room, then probably you don't play poker, because this is where the main action goes down. On the first day, the players competed in a free buy satellite, the €250 no-limit hold'em deep stack, and the €150 no-limit hold'em progressive bounty in the evening. So stay tuned and we will bring you all the exciting highlights from the festival, and make sure to check out OlyBet.tv. Teresa, we have a new game this time in the festival and it's called 5-card stud. And in Finnish, I also learned it. It's sökö or sökö nullo.
Yeah.
Getting good at Finnish with the new games. But can you tell us about the game?
Yeah, so this is a 5-card stud game. It's a traditional Finnish game, but it's actually originated from Canada, I think, North America. So some people call it Canadian stud,
yeah.
But in Finland it's called sökö. And we've had the sökö before in the schedule, but now we have also introduced sökö nullo. And for the very first time, we have sökö nullo also in the Kings of Tallinn schedule included. And it's sökö low. So basically what we're doing is we have a tournament that has one round of each, sökö high and sökö low.
Can you maybe show us how the game works, how it goes?
Yeah. So first of all, people usually ask like, what's the nuts? What's the best hand? So the nuts in sökö nullo, which is the low version of sökö, that would be, there you go, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7.
So it can't be a straight.
Yeah. So in sökö, in the traditional sökö, you have also a 4-card straight and 4-card flush. In this low version, you got to watch out for any straights, any flushes, any pairs, or anything. So basically, you're looking for the lowest possible hand. Ace is considered a bad card, a high card. So you're looking for the lowest possible hand, but you can't make even a 4-card straight. So therefore, the nuts would be 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. And because it's a 5-card stud game, the initial deal is 1 card down and 1 up. And eventually, the players would get this. So this is the final sökö. It's 1 card down and 4 up. And that goes for both high and low.
Okay. And how many draws then? How many times? Or can you see that one as well?
Yeah, I mean, the initial deal is
Like
would,
that?
would be
Yeah.
So this would be the initial deal, and after that, the dealer would place one more. You got a betting round, one more
Okay.
betting round, and then one final betting round, and then that's it. And so it's a very straightforward game because you have quite a lot of information there, but still. It seems to be quite tricky with this low version, so it's going to be interesting to see how players do on this one.
I have one question. You said it's a traditional Finnish game, but is it popular as well?
It used to be back in the days before Texas Hold'em was introduced and came more into Europe overall. So, like let's say 70 to 100 years ago, soccer was the game that they played in Finland a lot. But nowadays, it's not so played anymore because Texas Hold'em is the most popular.
Yeah, but we are bringing soccer back.
We're bringing, yes.
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
Definitely bringing soccer back.
Welcome back to the Kings of Tallinn 2024 Autumn Edition. It's been another exciting day full of poker here at the beautiful Hilton Tallinn Park Hotel. So let's take a look at what went on. Before we dive into day 2's action, let's quickly talk about the day 1 150 euro no-limit hold'em progressive bounty event. It was an intense battle, and in the end, Alexander Georgiev emerged victorious, claiming the title and a solid bounty haul. So Alex, we are used to having you as a really great colleague, but this time you're here as a player, and you won the 250 bounty tournament. What's behind your success?
There was luck involved, definitely, but on the final table, I had to push some very interesting hands just to steal the pots because we were all very short, and that eventually won me the tournament.
Are you planning to play everything?
Yeah, I'm playing everything every day.
Wow.
I'm also part of the team challenge, Team Poker Brass, and I got some nice points for that too.
Day 2 kept the momentum going with exciting events across the board. The 250 euro no-limit hold'em deep stack opening event came to a conclusion, with players battling late into the night before a champion was finally crowned. The 350 euro 8-game kicked off its first day with 6-handed play, as participants tested their skills across multiple poker games. After a full day of action, the field narrowed down to the final table, setting the stage for a thrilling Day 2 finale. We've also introduced some delicious new cocktails at the festival, available at our bars. We are trying a new non-alcoholic cocktail, and the name was Exotic Hold'em. Let's try it out then.
Yeah, let's try it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like it, it's fresh.
Yeah, it's
good.
fruity and fresh.
Yeah, I was hoping you would do the hair flip as well for the commercial, you know? Very good. Cheers. And good luck in the games if you're playing. Terviseks.
Keep this.
Let's try it.
I like it. It's really good.
We like it. Exotic Hold'em. Now you can get it in the bar.
And on Tuesday we are on the stage downstairs
Yes.
at Olympic Casino. Be there.
Or
Or
be
be
square. Meanwhile, the 350 euro no-limit hold'em Kings of Tallinn Cup Flight 1A began, giving players their first chance to secure a spot in the prestigious event. The competition was fierce, with many securing their seats for the next stage. And the day wrapped up with a 150 euro PLO4 5-6 progressive bounty, which added a fun twist to the evening's action. With bounties still on the line and changing formats, players had to stay sharp and adapt quickly, leading to some dramatic knockouts. So make sure to visit OlyBet.tv for all the latest news, highlights, and schedules from the Kings of Tallinn 2024 Autumn Edition. We still have a long week ahead of us.
And welcome back to the booth. We've going to be continuing with the three-handed action from the 1K PLO shortly. So we've seen the elimination of some of the Finnish players, but we're left with one Finn, one Latvian, and one Ukrainian. Let's get back to the action, shall we?
Thank you. Was something more? I didn't hear what you said at all. You just asked me something and I didn't hear. So. Right now, no?
What do you mean?
Sorry, I thought you saying something to me, so I didn't hear. Just right now.
I just say good luck.
Ah, sorry, not too. It's okay.
No. No, good luck.
So cards are back in the air and we are underway once again. Stack distribution certainly has been moving from the right to the left-hand side of the table. We had all of the big stacks over the other side of the table at the beginning. And since then, Mikhailo and Dennis have been battling away and flipping that deficit over. So, Dennis with the ace, king, queen 3. Again, he is covered by his opponent. It is somewhat awkward. Looks like he's just going to call. The hand is like too good to 3-bet fold and a bit too weak maybe in this kind of situation to 3-bet for value. So, looking to just defend and gives him some good options on ace king, ace queen type boards, you know, where your opponent is likely to find bets. Mikhailo has one of those sort of middling hands here where I think he could have just simplified to betting 25% with his entire range. It would have been quite a nice way to approach this board versus the big blind, but instead he kind of checks back, allows his opponent to start the turn and ends up getting away fairly unscathed. Mikhail with the queens here. 16 big blinds. Looks like he is going to open. You can also limp this kind of hand, like, or just pot and kind of go with it. I think on this kind of table, limping is definitely an option. You're not really going to get 3-bet much, so. But when you do, you're going to be not having a great hand to defend versus a 3-bet. So sometimes it can be quite nice to just play those hands as a limp and raise when we've got like an ace blocker or a little bit better connectivity, let's say. However, gets the job done, and he's got 18 bigs, so he's slightly behind the leading pack of Dennis and Mikhailko there. So the Finns, who were looking like getting yet another title here at the Kings of Tallinn, have wilted somewhat on the final table. And is it going to be Latvia or Ukraine at this stage taking home the spoils? Only time will tell. Mikhailo here is likely to VPip this hand in the small blind. Don't think it's got amazing qualities for raising, but we are double suited and somewhat connected, so calling does seem quite natural. Mikhail going to be rather honest in his response from the big blind here. Just going to elect to check that one back. A little bit of a piece for both players. So Mikhail has an open ender with the backdoor flush draw, and Mikhailko has a bottom 2. Mikhail just folding, snap folding the straight draw. Maybe because it's not to the nuts on one side. The 10 he deems to be problematic. I think that's maybe a little too cautious, but hey ho. Righty-ho. So not an awful lot to report here. Fairly tentative stuff. And Dennis now with the queen and the 10 of diamonds. Looks like he might be getting muscled out of this one by Mikael. And he does. That one gets the job done. Mikael now with these King 10, 9, 4, 4 double suited, but interesting, he is going to go for the open. Even this one to be quite wide, I would say, considering he's covered by both. But he's beating to the sound of his own drum here. Looks like Dennis has found a hand. And gets it through, can't do anything there with the pair, even double suited. And whatever Dennis had, still folding out a decent amount of equity is always a good result. But definitely a momentum shifter in the right direction for Dennis, who's now, I believe, got the chip lead to himself. Big thanks to all of you guys tuning in. Let us know who you're rooting for. If you've got any questions about not just the PLO, but any other events throughout the week, best chance to do so is via the YouTube chat. Dennis here with the double suited ace king queen 7. Really beautiful hand to be seeing in this short-handed scenario. Mikael. Looks like he's going to fold. No, he's going to call, sorry. Okay, so we've got a gut shot for Mikael and yeah, a decent flop for Dennis's hand. He's got the top pair gut shot. Very comfortable on this board in general in this type of situation. And does motor that one through as well. So he's up to 1.7 million now, starting to pull away from the rest of the pack. I think Mikaelo is still loitering around 1.3, 1.4.
Raise 120.
So Mikaelo opening it up. And Mikael is going to take this ace king 5-4. Nicely done. It's, some people don't tend to take that, and you do have to. This is a powerhouse hand, three-handed, especially with that big blind and the big blind ante as well. That's going to be left in there cold. So nice little sort of 4.5 big blind pickup, which is absolutely massive at this stage. If you do run into it, you've still got a slither of hope. Don't think he's going to be playing this one, although he's starting to widening up a little bit, Mikael. Dennis with the limp. Semi-playable holding. He's got a suit, king and a queen. Gut shot for Dennis. Swing and a miss for Mihailo, so Dennis maneuvers his opponent off the better hand. Carlo with the limp with the king, queen, queen, 9-7. Interesting. Thought he might have potted that one at least. Put a bit of pressure on the shorter stack. Build a pot with a really strong hand. Does flop really nicely here. Top pair with queen high flush draw. Checks it over, and actually Mihail's got middle set with 3 pair and a flush draw. Huge flop for this hand. King 8, 6-6 deuce. Mihailo continues to play the more conservative style, continuing the game plan. The limp pre-flop and now just the check call. And definitely not going to be able to go anywhere now. He's picked up a gut shot to boot as well. I think Mikael will now be looking to pot this one. Some of Mikhailo's continues. They're going to have backdoor diamonds, for example. It's going to turn some hands like King Jack from time to time. If we're beat in this situation, then so be it. We block kings. It's rather unlikely he has jacks unless he's got like jacks with a flush draw, which would be a rather tough beat. So looking to seek value here. And it does fold, so limps pre, check calls the flop, check folds the turn with a decent bit of equity there. Any queen 10 club would have been the nuts for him essentially. Waving the white flag on this occasion, and Mikael has now battled his way back into the thick of things here. Really, looking like it was rather ominously going to be Mihailo and Dennis in the heads up, but now Mikael from Finland fighting his way back into it, and he's not necessarily just been having good cards either. He's definitely found a couple of sneaky little pots that maybe others may have missed out on. Definitely a player that's very capable. Okay, so we do have this double suited ace queen queen, but not with the any nut suits, so he's just going to limp. Dennis putting the pressure on. Mikael says, okay, fair enough, I'm not going to play for it all, but I'm very happy to play for a little bit extra. 350k in the middle, 820 behind, so quite a significant pot already. Okay, and Dennis has a 9. He's got queen, jack, jack. Seems like... Ooh, okay, he's been quite c-bet heavy so far, but this time he does elect to allow his opponent a free card. Mikael here with the queens and the flush draw. Definitely no reason to bet. If anything, you maybe want to allow your opponent to find some delayed c-bet stabs. Wow. Yeah, this is a little weak there with the queens and the flush draw. I'm surprised he just check folds the turn. Dennis really getting away with murder there. That's certainly a hand that you felt like shouldn't be giving up versus the delayed c-bet, but just almost instantly hitting the muck maybe a sign of the intentions and the game plan for the three-handed.
Suit 8 fold. Suit 3 fold. Suit 4 check. Suit 3 please. Thank you. Heads up. Suit 3 check.
Doki, so Dennis with top pair, the flush draw here. PLO with a sort of modest flush draw and no other real board interaction. Again, seeing the delayed bet strategy from Dennis. Is Mikhailo going to do anything about this hand? I don't think he needs to or necessarily has to, but looks like he's going to go for a raise here with the blockerless 7-6-4-3-3. Small sizing. Dennis, again, relinquishing a hand that potentially could continue, potentially could do have other options to fire in another raise. Very honest poker being played over the last couple of orbits. Are playing for a significant amount of money, so third place is going to get over 14,000, second place over 20,000, and first place is 30,600 euros. Not a bad payday for a couple of days' work. So Dennis, don't think he can open the confines to this type of hand, but he'd be opening pretty wide there. And Mikhailo instantly getting out the way, so all of a sudden now a little bit of a fight between Mikhailo and Mikkel, potentially, the two shorter stacks, to try and navigate their way to the final table. Mikhailo on the button, folds the King 9-5-3 try. Nice hand for Mikkel. Again, continuing to limp. I think he might be potentially trapping this one now, going for the limp jam. Kind of a decent stack size to do it. And limp 3x, and then you make it 9. And you're going to be committed a lot and potentially gain a bit of fold equity. And Dennis is going to start off with the aggression here. Got a gut shot. Those 2 9s blocking straights as well. So quite a decent hand, even though blockerless to the front door flush draw to take a stab with. Turning some showdown value with this king. Does he care about that, or is he going to look to fire another bet? Now we're getting a little bit murky as to whether we're value betting or bluffing. Kind of just keeping our options open for the river and not trying to cap ourselves with those 2 9s. So I quite like his idea there. Can definitely gain some folds from better hands. Hands like some of the weaker 2 pairs on the flop are likely to just surrender. And then also you have the ability of folding some better hands and also getting called by draws that you're ahead of. So quite a sexy bet actually. Nice work there from Dennis, who now is almost at the 2 million stage and has the resounding chip lead, which is certainly from some of the hard work he's been doing. He's been one of the more active players and certainly someone that early on in the final table realized that he could potentially take that final table by the scruff of the neck, and he's done a good job so far of accumulating chips. Going to limp in here. We're seeing a consistent theme of real under-aggression from the small blind in basically all of the encounters we've been witnessing. Definitely something to keep an eye on if you're playing in similar PLO tournaments. That's going to be something that people just tend to fall into, by the looks of things. So the action has been rather slow, but there's definitely a little bit more of a cagey feeling to this three-handed than I expected. Dennis is doing as good a job he can of trying to hoover up these blinds and antes. Let's see if he's going to go as wide as this hand. Quite nice to see someone really taking it by the scruff of the neck, like I said, and just leaning on these other players. Okay, Mikael here has a great hand, but of course lacking perceived fold equity in 5 card means maybe we just want to defend and create some sort of more play for ourselves. The stack to pot ratio is going to be a little bit higher. We can do some leading, put some pressure on certain types of hands. Dennis flopping a straight here. Jack of hearts on the turn now. That's 3 pair for Mikael. And he does go for the sort of pot and pray route. Dennis has the second nut straight, having checked back in a situation where he's going to be struggling to find hands that can defend against this turn pot. Not so with the 7-3, and even if it's the disaster route of the 9-7, gives him some additional options as well to hit the 8. And as you can see, Dennis getting it in with 85% equity on the turn here. Could this be the 5th finish elimination in a row? We had 5 coming into the final table of 7. We are now left with 1. And the only remaining finish hope has it in with 15% on the turn here. And if he bricks, we're going to be going to the heads up. Let's see what the river brings. Is it Jack 5 or a 4? No, the deuce. The cold, hard deuce gives Dennis the check mark. And that's going to be the end of the run for Mikael, who definitely showed some good stuff there. Gave it a bit of a battle, and unfortunately in the end runs 3 pair into the flop straight. A little cheeky move there from Dennis, checking it back. And he got the action he was hoping for on the turn. So welcome back to the booth. It's going to be Dennis versus Mikaelo, Latvia versus Ukraine. Looking forward to seeing who can push on there and crown the winner here of the PLO 1.1K in Tallinn, 4 and 5 cards. So looking forward to seeing if we're going to see that continuation from Dennis. He's been really driving the action, but going to be a little bit of a different dynamic in the heads up. To keep you updated with some other events throughout the week, we do have the 500K guaranteed main event, as you can see behind me. The 1K buy-in, and there's going to be a 5K KO, and we're going to be commentating and streaming that one live tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And of course some of the other side events as well in what is of course a bustling and busy schedule here. Let's go back to the action. Queen 7, 4, 3 deuce. Basically, in 5 card, we're going to play absolutely every hand in this kind of awkward big blind ante format. It does mean that there's just going to be so many more limp pots, and now we need to decide on what hands to sort of like limp trap, limp 3-bet, limp call, limp fold. Just going to start with a lot of limps, so it does tend to slow down the action a little bit in heads up. So if you're looking for fast-paced chips flying in, I don't think it's going to be in the next 10 minutes, but I could be wrong. So Mikaelo flops the straight, and Dennis was... Whoa. Okay, Dennis is stacking off here with the 2-pair straight draw No flush draw, I believe. He's got backdoor hearts, but they're no good versus Mikhailo's hearts. And wow, what was I just saying about I don't think the chips are going to be flying in? And here we go. Dennis just sending it in with bottom two and a straight draw. Needs a deuce, a 3, or a 5.
Yeah. Turn card.
That's a 9. Doesn't change anything. So looking for a deuce 3 or a 5 for Dennis to be crowned the champion of the 1K here. And it's another 9, so a double up for Mikhailo. Look at that, back to even stacks already. And 40 big blinds effective here. Mikhailo's making his first significant live final table. He said earlier that he hadn't had much kind of breakthrough scores. So to get himself potentially a trophy here, one step closer towards that, and of course a nice little compensation in the form of the 30,600 euros in addition for the winning player. Flops the straight and holds it up there, which was a nice start to the heads up. Take a while just to make sure that the chips are right.
Вот это я просмотрел, конечно. Я был уверен, что у меня
Да я понял, вряд ли.
и еще выше.
Вряд ли вы мне 2-3 сидеть засунули. Без фолдых.
Надо лучше проверять.
Жесть, не то слово.
So there we have the beautiful trophy, one of the first views of that. And that's what we're playing for here today, plus, of course, the cash.
Fine.
150.
Yeah. They have 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mikhailo looks like he's opening it up, I think, with the King, Queen, Jack, 10 deuce. Yeah, he does make it 150. Dennis not going anywhere. Got his double suited Queen, Jack, 7, 6 deuce. So advantage Ukraine, I would say, with this hand, and certainly with this flop.
Check. Check.
Goes check, check. Mikhailo a little bit wary, potentially, of that low connectivity. Not holding an awful lot. It does have that deuce of diamonds, could come into play, and now he's going to
175.
go for the delayed bet on the turn. Looks like Dennis is going to surrender this one by the look of the body language, and does. Dennis on the button is looking like a raise. And call. We're not seeing many of Dennis's cards. I think he's just forgetting to fan those cards over like so. And there we go. So Queen 10, 10, 9 deuce. Tri-suit. Going for it with the min raise. Flops a flush though. And Mikhailo missing that one. Does go check, check. That's a straight for Mikhailo. Interesting. Looking to maybe check this one and bet the river potentially. On the paired board. Still think we can potentially eke some value from a small sizing here, sort of 80k.
Bet is 75 from
Yeah, he does go for the small bet, and it's going to show his value, but is actually beaten on this occasion by the double check back, which is not always going to be the case. Nice to find that thinner value there.
Is the last hand?
Yes.
Next hand blinds up. Small blind 50,000, big blind 60,000, big blind ante 60,000.
In a row maximum. So the raise from 6-7 is 150 call.
Kalo with a lovely hand here. Ace King 10-9-3. Double try. Oh, this could be a collision here as Dennis has flopped middle set with a gut shot and Mikhailo has top two. Top three, I should say, with two backdoor flush draws. Dennis going for the lead here. Kind of unconventional on an ace high board. It's even heads up. Lead's kind of large as well, 200 into 350, so north of half pot. Not sure what all of this background noise is. Sounds like we're in sort of Hell's Kitchen or something like that. People rustling around. And Mikhailo is going to commit the stack.
Raise only.
And here we go. Off to the races here. It's going to be 20% for Mikhailo. Two backdoor flush draws plus the ace, and Dennis in a favorable position here with middle set.
Туз, два бэкдора.
Tell me what to do.
Seven of diamonds gives Mikhailo some additional outs. The diamonds are blocked by Dennis though. There's the jack, so Dennis holds up.
Wait for the count.
Those chips belongs to the pot or to the...
No, it was the bet. So,
1,600,000.
1,600,000 and 15. 1,600,000 and 15.
Nice. Полирнула. Не,
Закончилось бы давно все, если бы я там не просмотрел.
Непонятно.
А?
Непонятно.
Ну, бывает. Мисклики везде бывают.
And so after a bit of commotion, we are going to continue with what could be now a formality for Dennis.
Артем такой своей.
Only left his opponent with around about 100,000 chips, which is just a couple of big blinds at this stage.
Switches to PLO4.
Big blind or
Big blind correction.
at least something.
Бытовой, да?
Можно не смотреть.
Ну да.
Doesn't matter.
Где какой?
Okay, so that's going to be the last of the stack. I'm not sure why it took so long to deal this final hand, but here we are. Dennis has picked up aces as well, and Mikhailo's got a huge hand. King, Queen, Jack 5. Still no idea why we can hear all of this rustling in the background, but do accept my apologies on that one. I think maybe someone's sort of camped out by the side of our microphone and tucking into their dinner potentially. 10-10-3 is going to be the flop, and it's looking pretty ominous for Mihailho, although he does turn a 5 and a flush draw. Probably about the best card he could have found, but it's going to be a 6 on the river, and that's going to be the win and the elimination of Mihailho in second place. Coming into his first major final table there, but did put up a spirited effort, and unfortunately his 3-pair bested by the set of Dennis from Latvia. Good job. So congratulations to Denis Lebedev there from Latvia, who's going to be crowned our champion of the 1K PLO4 and 5 card event. Coming into the final table with somewhat of a medium stack, we just saw him start to exert some pressure on the rest of the table and tended to move away from that, and that's a good advertisement for some aggression paying off in terms of winning that top spot. So congratulations to Dennis, and we're going to go back and see him crowned the champion quite shortly, and potential interview with Teresa.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have our winner in the pot limit Omaha, 123 entries, and we are down to our winner. This is the 1K pot limit Omaha champion. Please give a hand to Denis Lebedevs from Latvia.
Well, Krista says that's it, so that's it. And well done to Dennis.
It's a nice trophy, too.
Does find a nice trophy there. We did get a couple of views at it. Have a little look there at the bottom left of your screen. 30,570 euros also for winning that trophy. And somewhat of a major breakthrough based on his rather modest Hendon Mob career. Didn't have an awful lot of big cashes to note, but that was going to be a hell of a scalp for him in terms of his playing career. So thanks for joining us here at the PLO 1K. It's been a pleasure. Came in with 7 final tablists, 5 of them finish, and the first 5 eliminations at the final table, all the Finns hitting the rail. Who would have thought it? We're going to be back tomorrow with the day 2 of the 5K bounty. Looking forward to seeing you then. And from us in the Kings of Tallinn, it's good night for now.